Friday live at 5. Let's see if this works. And today I've got a little project that I wanted to share because I was just crafting today and I thought, you know what? Let's do this. So here we are. So it's using the Friendly Foliage Bundle. So this, has a stamp set, obviously, and it has a coordinating die set. So there's lots of different things that we can create when we've got coordinating products, of course. And the colors that I'll be using is Coastal Cabana. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I'm just like a Coastal Cabana freak. So when when this color first landed, I was like all over it and have been ever since. So one of my favorites. Pretty Peacock, another favorite, but then aren't they all favorites? Not as much as Coastal Cabana, but I do like it. And then Petunia Pop. Had to throw this one in there because I've loved this one for the last 2 years since it came out in our in color range. And sadly it will be retiring shortly. So I wanted to, make the most of that one. So yes, with the Friendly Foliage Bundle, I'm also teaming that one up with just one of the little sentiments from the Fabulous Sayings stamp set. Now, this is the product of the month for February. So you can add this one to your cart for $9 when your order is $125 or more. So really good to check that one out in the online store. Yeah, this is the one that I made earlier today, and so I thought let's make this one. I might actually change it up. Oh, I'm going to wing it here. Nothing like jumping straight into the fire, is there? So yeah, I'm gonna change it up just slightly, but we're gonna have some fun making a card just because. Boom, boom. Alrighty, I'm going to pop this one over here. We'll still see it. And we will get started. Alrighty, so we're going to start with we make a card base. Now, I've gone ahead and made my card base already. But for those of you who may not know how to create a card base, we have A4 cardstock that we cut in half, and then score and fold in half. So it's nice and easy, in half and in half. So I've got that one ready to go. The other piece that I've got ready to go is my die cut layer, which we're using under our stamped image. And that piece there is I used a die from the Textured Notes die set, which I love, love, love. But yeah, sadly, this one will be heading off shortly. It'll be retiring, so you'll, want to grab this if you haven't already. So let's get on to some stamping. So we're just going to grab a little piece of basic white cardstock. I'll put that one over there because I had two. Alrighty, and we have our stamp. I've got our stamp mounted up already. Now that is, let me bring in this one again so you can see. So that's this one here. And we're going to do something a little bit fun using two colors. So first up, I'm going to ink it up with Coastal Cabana and ink all of it up. And being such a light color, we do light colors first when we're going to have some fun. But sometimes it's a little bit hard to see. So, we just get a feel for those kinds of things. And the second thing we're going to do is add some fun color to our stamp. And that enables us to do some two-tone kind of stamping to get different colors, on our images. So I'm just using a little sponge dauber here on my finger and just adding some colour randomly. It can be, I'm trying not to put it in the same spot, but the colour on the stain on my stamp is just drawing me there. So yes, isn't it funny how we do those things? Hi Chris, welcome. I'll see you later for Stamp Club. So yes, alrighty, that's all we're going to do with that one. Alright, we'll put those there. Now we're going to stamp. So, flip that over. I'm going to do things quite weirdly because we're going to die cut this out. I'm not too stressed about it being crooked or any of those kinds of things. And even if it was, it didn't really matter. It's kind of okay, isn't it? So yeah, alrighty. I'm just gonna, I love how sometimes the paper comes up, giving you that option to, it sort of sticks to the ink and comes up with your stamp, giving you the a little bit of extra pressure from this side to make sure it stamps nicely. Oh, I love that. I love when that happens. It's just so nice, isn't it? So this is really cool. Alrighty, so in the die set, let's bring this one back in. So this is the die set here. So we're using the frame and the insert that cuts it a little bit further. So what I like about this, it's like a two-step die set, isn't it? We're used to our two-step stamp sets, but yeah, so this one allows us to frame our image, so it'll cut it out as one whole piece. And we can do lots of different things with that just as a whole piece. But using this piece as well, then chops out all these inside pieces to give us a freestanding element. So what I'm going to do now, I said I'm going to wing it here, didn't I? So I'm going to do something a little bit crazy and add some foam sheet. So what this is, you know, you might be familiar with our dimensionals or little foam squares that we pop up onto our card, you know, our elements and things. Well, this is a whole sheet of that, and that will allow us to make the whole thing dimensioned. So what we're going to do, I'm going to do it that way. I was deciding which way I was going to do it. So we're going to peel one side off, and we're going to stick our card on. Now I'm overhanging the edge slightly, and that is so that I don't end up with any sticky bits on my plate when we go to die cut it. Alrighty, so now we're just going to trim this down. There we go, pop that aside. And I'm going to cut this piece off as well. There we go, beautiful. All right, pop those away. So now our whole stamped image is dimensioned. Now, and we're going to die cut this like this, exactly like that. So let me bring in my die cutting machine. Okay, now, so in this sandwich that I've got set up for die cutting, I've got my base platform, nice big thick one, and the little thin one, and of course our base cutting plate, which we need when we're using the thin dies. So what we're going to do is just line that up. We're going to hug our image. All right, holding those down. Now, what I'm going to do as well is just hold them secure with a post-it note. And let's hope they don't move. Moment of truth, isn't it, really? Yay, I did that without dropping it. I thought it was going to go everywhere, but okay, let's see if this has worked. So we'll take our dies off here. Now, because we've got the backing sheet on this side, it's kind of all the little pieces have stayed in place, but I'm just checking to make sure that it has cut properly. All right, so it's come out, which is a good sign. All righty. Yeah, so that's cut all the way through. And so we'll be ready to pull that out properly after. I'm just going to set that aside for a moment so that we can get on to some blending and finishing our base ready for our card, our main element here. So okay, so let me bring in this one. I'll show you the difference that I've done here. So what I've done is adhered this layer onto my cardstock, my card base, with dimensionals. And this side, this one is flat. But because now I've added dimension to this layer, I'm going to reverse it and make, pop this one on flat. You can double dimension if you like. I guess there's no real rules, is there? But I'm going to go for a slightly different look for this card. Okay, so what I'm doing is just roughly centering the Coastal Cabana element, and I'm putting in a couple of light marks, and that's going to show me where the center is, and what's going to be covered up by my element. And that also will allow me a guide so that I know how far out to push my color. So I'm just going to bring in my blending brush. That's going to make much more sense in a minute. So let's do this. All right, let's ink up our brush. Now I've got plenty of ink on there from earlier today. And we're going to start in the middle, of course, so that we get that blob of brush mark in, you know, in the center where it's not going to be seen. And that way we've got that beautiful glow of color pushing out from underneath our element. Yeah, I've got lots of ink on here. I don't need to ink up very, very much at all this time. So I'm just going to keep pushing that around. Now, usually, earlier today, I had to ink quite a bit to pick up ink on my brush. So what I find is when I'm starting off with a clean brush, there's quite a bit of inking and inking that happens, and it takes a little bit longer. Of course, I've got ink on my finger. Now I've got it all over my card. That's okay. It happens, and it'll be fixable. Okay, so blending, what we're doing, blending. So yeah, so sometimes when you first start out with a clean brush and you're blending ink, you know, there's a lot of backwards and forwards, and it takes a little bit longer to build up the color to get the intensity that you might like. So I find some days I have patience for this process and then other days I don't. So I pick and choose when I want to blend. I don't know if you guys find that. So I think I'm happy with how much ink is on there. It's much darker than my original. Okay, so we're going to adhere this down. As I said, I'm going to do this layer flat this time. And one of my favorites is the Tombow, the liquid glue, the green glue. So there's a couple of different ones in the Tombow range, but green is the one that works beautifully for paper-to-paper bonding. Alrighty. Now, if you happen to be making this at home at some point, and if you, you can sort of rub out those marks with an eraser if you want to, if they're bothering you. I don't stress about things like that too much, so yeah. Alrighty, now, the other thing we're going to do is just add a little bit of detail to the corner just to finish it off nicely. So, and also to the back. So I've got two little stamps from the stamp set that are leafy images that match our main one, our main element. So I just use the little one for the corners. So what I did, I'm going to reverse them this time. No, I'm not. I like this. All right, so just going to ink these up lightly. And I'm going to stamp them, two in the corners. And one there. Now, for these two, you can see that I've used generational stamping, which is a really great, simple technique, particularly with colors like peacock, which is really rich and really vibrant. You can get, it just works perfectly for these, for this technique, and it just allows you to add some dimension without, needing too many more supplies, really. It's just one of those great little things. Okay, so I've got a dark one coming out from the center, and then my two lighter ones are going to fan out from that. So I'm going to push my first full strength stamp up a little bit further so it's not sitting quite in the corner. And then I'm going to stamp again, but this time I am going down a little bit further into the corner. Now, okay, so I'm going to do this side. Okay, now finish off this one with the remaining ink. And now we'll do these two. So I've got a little bit of scratch paper here. I'm going to stamp these, and I've got the dies in the die set that I'll punch out for I'll die cut for another project, so that we're not wasting these babies. So cute. I love these shaped leaves. Yay. Awesome. That's nice. Just adds a little bit of detail so that it's not quite so plain. Plain is good, but yeah, a little bit of detail is nice too. And then we're going to add our main element very soon. First, I want to add in the stamped images behind it with this guy. I'll bring in my ink to remind me. Alrighty, so I want to do a little bit more stamping before I stick this baby on. I just want a little bit of detail behind, particularly now this element is dimensioned, so it's 3D, with a little bit having the darker color in the background. It just adds that depth, like a depth of field almost, to the to that main element. So let's now this is something that I teach my class girls quite a bit. So sometimes we need to position our element without sticking it, adhering it, so that we know where this stamp is going to go. And I do this quite a bit, or I have my class ladies doing this quite a bit. So I'm hoping they're getting better at it. Oh, now I've added some extra ink. Watch me get this all over my project now. Okay. Right. There we go. So that one's going to go there. So you can see it just peeking through. And we're going to add that one up there. And I'm really just concentrating on where the leaves are sitting. I'm not stressed so much about what's happening with the stem. It's really just about, you know, making the leaves poke through those little windows. And what I might do is actually put one little one over here. Okay, so we have this weird looking configuration here that when you add the top elements on, it's going to make a lot more sense. So, yay. All right. Now, for this, it's just a simple peel and stick. Alrighty. Let's do this. Now I'm trying to hover and trying to get a good view of my leaves to make sure they are poking through where I want them to, and so that everything is sitting sort of square. Although I keep moving my card, so it's a little bit crooked, but that's okay. Crooked is good. I can just tell everyone I was having a wine when I was making it. Anyway. Okay, so now we just finish with a little pop of colour. This is beautiful as it is in these muted tones. I mean, the sentiments themselves, thinking of you or get well, it's sort of, you know, if you wanted to continue making a more muted tone card using those sentiments would suit. But then, you know, you can jazz it up a little bit and create, you know, some fun by adding a splash of colour. Today I've chosen Petunia Pop, but lots of different colours would work with these, the muted or the sort of blue-green tealy colours. And that is, I would probably go, you know, even your Calypso Coral would go beautiful with this, and also Darling Duckling, I think. A nice bright yellow would just set it off. So today I'm just going to use Petunia Pop and stamp my sentiment. And I'm going to just free cut it. They're nice straight lines. So okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So I am going to angle the edges just for a little bit extra interest. Alrighty, so that's nice. And that one's going to sit just there. Yay. Alright, I'm going to pop a couple of dimensionals on there. I'm going to use the mini ones, and I may even layer them because I feel like sometimes let's get this right. So we're going to put one here. Okay. I feel like the foam is just a little bit higher than the foam used on the dimensionals. Well, these are the mini ones anyway. So I'm just going to add 2 so it's a little bit thicker. And let's do that. Alrighty, now the other thing I want to do is add some adhesive to this section so that that adheres more securely as well. However, with this one, because it was flat, it was nice and easy. I could just add a little bit of Tombow to this side and stick it down, and it was fine. Really, it probably could work doing that, but instead I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to look at where I'm going to put this, and I'm just going to add a very small drop here and here. Alrighty. I know you probably can't see that, probably miles away. Oh, and the sun's starting to come through. I love this time of the afternoon. Alrighty. So let's pop that in. Give it a second. All done. Beautiful. And then we're just going to finish with a couple of little dimension gems. Love gems. I have so many gems. It can just, projects can never have enough, can they? Well, they can actually have too many, but I I always like to add them in. Now I'm gonna pop one over this guy, and what I'm gonna do with this guy is actually a little trick that I'm gonna scrape him off, I think, and patch him. And I'm gonna put a smaller one on this side. I'm going to go down from here. What I like to do is make a triangle or a dog leg with my gems, and I tend to use one bigger one, and sort of, if I can, I'll use one of each size. Quite often gems will come in, you know, small, medium, large, so I'll use one of each. It gives it a hierarchy. When there's a big one, these aren't too big. You could probably do 2 of those, but I usually tend to like just the one. So I'm going to put this one right about here. There we go. Awesome. Okay. And that is our little crafting session for this afternoon. So I hope you enjoyed this one. This little card that I've shared with you today, this little fun little project. And yeah, I shall be back again. My plan is to do this fortnightly. So yeah, we'll see how that pans out. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope this inspires your creativity and crafting. And yeah, you take these ideas back to your craft room and have some fun. In the meantime, I'll catch you again next time. See you, everyone. Thanks for joining me, and we'll craft again soon. Bye.